Hello, friends. Welcome. Welcome to yet another episode of Talk with me, Owen Fernandez. I wish you all, wherever in the world you are, a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good evening. Today is the 9th of November, 2021, and we are on episode number 55, double five. And our topic for today is how to find motivation when you feel burnt out. Now, I'm not sure how many of you on the call understand the meaning of being burnt out. It's just not, somebody has set you on fire and there you are burnt out. No. Friends, think about it. It's almost a year and a half. Millions and millions of people all around the globe are stuck at home. Parents have to juggle their careers and serve as both teachers and parents for their children, many of whom have not gone back to school, though there are indications that they might, but still, it's a big issue. In Slovakia, a country in Central Europe where we are living right now, where I am living right now and based here right now, we've seen almost the third wave devastating across the entire nation. In fact, many of the states are almost given a black color as an indication because of the COVID automat. There is also a little bit of speculation saying that we are once again going to have a lockdown. Just imagine all these information coming in, not sure as to who is right and why is it that we are not able to handle this COVID situation. Hundreds of thousands of people. In fact, when I read last time, almost 5 million people all across the globe have lost their lives. They have succumbed to this disease. Imagine you hustling around, just trying to do your job and keeping yourself afloat because we all need to put food on the table. And suddenly you start feeling an aching sense and you're not able to give a particular word to that feeling. It could be anxiety, it could be stress, whatever, it could be even exhaustion, or simply the current phase that we are going through as a human race is not that we have been used to or we knew about it before. It's completely new. Or for some of us, we could all experience anxiety, stress, exhaustion, boredom all at the same time. So if you are on the call or if you know somebody that are going through these things and signs that I've just mentioned, probably that could be a burnout. And friends, you're not certainly alone. Indeed, the giant job aggregator site conducted a survey of 1,500 US workers to determine the level of burnout exhibited by different groups of people. This I read it in the Forbes magazine. The subjects were picked from various age groups, various experience levels, and from various industry sectors, so that the research findings were authentic. Now, the study compared current findings against a prior pre-pandemic study in January 2020. The world came to know about COVID, at least in this part of the world, somewhere around February 2020. In fact, it was detected for the first time in China in November 2019. I would just like to share some of the highlights just to bring this point of burnout into perspective. So, here are some of the highlights. Burnout is on the rise. Over 52%, almost over half of the survey respondents agreed that they are experiencing burnout in 2021. And this was up from 43% who said the same before the pandemic, before the COVID 19. 53% of millennials were already burnt out pre pandemic, and they remain the most affected population, with 59% experiencing it today. Now, just imagine we are talking about the US because the study was carried out in the US. And I believe major continents and big countries have yet to digest, have yet to process research findings. The pandemic's toll is also more apparent among older generations. The same research study shows that baby boomers saw a 7% increase in burnout from pre-pandemic levels, which was even startling. Experience doesn't count out here. And finally, among all respondents, 80% believe COVID 19 has impacted workplace burnout. A 67% majority say burnout has worsened during the pandemic, though 13% believe it has gotten better. Whatever the case may be, friends, as I start this episode number 55, how to find motivation when you feel burnout. Now, bear in mind that you can feel burnout due to various aspects of your life. We'll be talking about this very soon. But today, I would like to focus on workplace stress that results in burnout. And friends, in today's time, the hustle culture is encouraged, and you are expected to work a majority of hours in a day. So, in these circumstances and in these difficult times that we find ourselves in, it's normal to feel exhausted and hit the wall of fatigue. So, in this episode, I will share how to know that you are experiencing a burnout and 6 ways to motivate yourself once you feel that you are showing signs of burnout indeed. So, friends, grab a cup of tea or coffee, take a comfortable seat, relax as we go deeper into this topic. If you are on this call for the very first time, I welcome you. Please let us know in the chat box where you are watching from. So I see Peter Bodaj out here, and I also see a good friend of mine from Nigeria, Kawade. Welcome, Kawade. Welcome, Peter. So let's get going. Let's get going. As usual, I would like to start with some quote, and this time it is from Vanessa Autry. She says, balance is the epiphany that you don't have to be everything to everyone all of the time. Friends, social distancing has caused a lot of emotional distress. People are working from home without direct contact for many days, in fact, months together. And in these situations, there is a tendency to validate yourself when nobody is watching you that you're still working. And in certain circumstances, you think that you have got to do everything and be everything to everyone all the time. We do have limitations. We just can't be everywhere at all the time doing everything to everyone. So be aware that burnout also is something related to awareness of yourself, of your abilities, about your situation, your environment. Friends, before getting into the details of how to get back motivation after a burnout, let's understand the definition of burnout. Is there a way one could define it in simple terms? So, for your better understanding, today I have picked up a definition from the World Health Organization, WHO itself. According to WHO, burnout is a syndrome conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. I repeat, burnout is a syndrome conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. Now, who's going to manage this? Yourself or your employers? Well, both have got a role to play. Now, if the employers are aware of that their employees are suffering from burnout, they need to do something about it. On the other hand, if employees feel that they are getting burnt out because of workplace pressure and stress, it is their duty first to take care of themselves and bring it to the notice of their employers. So, needless to say, one may ask, Owen, how does one know that one is suffering from a burnout? What if one is not even aware of? Are there any signs of a burnout? So let me share this slide with you and let me show you, and in fact, challenge you to ask yourself, are you showing any signs of burnout? Identification of the signs of burnout, friends, is the most crucial part in the recovery of burnout, without which proper treatment is impossible. The following are the most common signs of burnout. The first one, you start speaking negativity, or in fact, you start oozing cynicism and negativity. Ask yourself, are you showing signs of being negative, of being cynical all the time? Or even when you're interacting with people at home, or for that matter, even with friends over a call or a Zoom call, what is your language? What is your body language? What are the words that you are using? Are you using negativity? This is the first sign that something could indicate of a signs of being burnt out. The second one is withdrawal. Now, I do understand that most of us are still in a regime of distancing ourselves. Burnout makes people withdraw into themselves, avoiding social situations. Check yourself whether are you trying to get into some sort of a solitary place where you are all by yourself. You don't need any people around you. You're already tired, frustrated, and so on and so forth. So check if your language, your body language, or if your speech is negative most of the time. Check if you're showing signs of getting away from people, getting away from situations, trying to be all by yourself. The third possible indicator is a lack of energy. You may be eating well, you may be sleeping well, maybe you've got mental fatigue, and it is basically showing out in the energy levels of your body. You feel tired from the very thought that you've got to put on your equipment, computer equipment, and get on a Zoom call or get connected with people in the office. And you sincerely, or you just lack energy. That could be a sign of a burnout. The fourth sign is dissatisfaction. When I say dissatisfaction, friends, work no longer satisfies. It seems like a big boulder on your shoulder. It seems like a big burden. You're no longer excited about doing something. You're no longer excited about performing. Work has less meaning in your life. In fact, it doesn't satisfy you at all. That could be a possible sign of a burnout. Now, needless to say, it spirals into the fact that your productivity, your efficiency is impacted, and it plummets down as work loses its appeal and its purpose. Negative talk, negative body language, signs of withdrawal, signs of lack of energy, showing dissatisfaction and irritation at the very talk of work, productivity, performance goes downhill. Another sign is that you show that you're not in control. Now, what do I mean by that? The individual working through burnout experiences a sense of loss of control in life. You feel, hey, listen, there's something wrong. I'm not in control. There are other factors that are dictating me. In fact, some of us even lose focus. And that's point number seven, lack of concentration. Have a look at this slide once again, friends. Ask yourself honest questions. Do you suffer from negativity? Are you withdrawing from interacting with people, even though the interaction is minimal at this point of time in certain areas, in certain regions of the world? Does your body show lack of energy? Are you getting tired the very thing in the morning, though you have slept well and if you have eaten well? Are you suffering from mental fatigue? Are you dissatisfied with the situation and at work, which once was something that you looked forward to? Is your productivity falling down? Are you losing control of things otherwise you thought you were in control of? And are you losing your focus? I'm welcoming Pratik to the call. Thank you, Pratik, for showing up. So we go to the next part, how to get motivation after burnout. The first, friend, is know the signs of a burnout. Most of us just think about life and its hectic challenges and multitasking, and we've got so many things to do, so many things to look after. And we've got only 24 hours, and so on and so forth. We are in a pandemic. We do not know what next. Know the signs of burnout, and once you know, there is something called acceptance. Acknowledge that you are burnout. People often lose perspective during this period. Agreed. Instead of acknowledging and accepting the fact that they are suffering a burnout, they double down on their efforts, blaming themselves, and then going into the spiral of self-pity. The drama all starts. Submitting to the fact that burnout is real helps you to prepare mentally to regain the motivation that you need in order to come out of the burnout. So, first, know the signs of the burnout, acknowledge that you are indeed burnt out. That brings us to point three, identify why you are feeling the way you are feeling. Now, friends, most of us do not ask tough questions about why we behave the way we behave. We just go about life, and life happens to most of us, and that it's indeed a pity. It's all about your level of awareness. In the case of a burnout, there is most likely a root cause that has to be addressed in order to reclaim any of the motivation or any of lost love. When you are truly burnt out, it's likely that it's negatively impacted multiple areas of your life. So it may feel impossible to identify the root cause of your struggle at that moment. So all you've got to do is check your gut feeling. Do a gut check. Ask yourself these questions. What are the reasons? What could be the reasons? Pick up maybe three reasons that you think could have cost you this burnout. Why? Because burnout is a consequence. So, needless to say, when it is a consequence, something must have triggered it. Something must have caused it for an effect to take place. It's about the cause and effect law. So, think about it. What could be probably the reason? Is it just the pandemic? Or is it something that you're not comfortable with sitting at home and working? Or you're not very comfortable with technology? Or you feel yourself that you're cramped in a room where there are others in the house as well, not giving you freedom to be by yourself at least for an hour or two. To get to the root cause, ask tough questions. Find out what could be probably the main cause. Number four, look back and try to determine what gave you meaning and happiness before the burnout. Now, what we are actually doing is that we are tracing the path in order to find out what could be the cause that has caused symptoms of a burnout. Now, just imagine yourself going to the doctor. The doctor does ask a few questions. When did you get this headache? How long has this headache been? How difficult it is for you to bear this headache? He does a little bit of a background check. When was the last time you got something similar? So, in the same way, determine what gave you meaning and happiness before the burnout. Friends, the best way to get yourself off the hook and regain motivation is to remind yourself of the time when you first started your job, your business, or any activity where you are experiencing something good and not a burnout. Remind yourself of the meaning that work carried for you, the happiness that you felt when you first started. Identify your why and watch all else fall into place once you make an effort in order to bring those conditions that gave you satisfaction and happiness. And is it possible, given the circumstances that we are still not out of a pandemic, can we recreate and reproduce at least some part of it in order to get motivation and get going? Determine what gave you meaning and happiness before the burnout and try to reproduce it in any way, in any part, given the circumstances that you find yourself in. And friends, this is indeed an important point. As I said at the beginning, you're not alone. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Many times in life, we think we are alone in any given situation. That's not true. There you exercise a choice whether I need to talk to somebody. And believe me, we are all social beings. Asking for help for some people is the last thing on their mind because they think that their problem is unique and no one will be able to understand. How far are you from the truth? Some of them even feel ashamed and helpless. I have this to say, friends. You can, and you are free to ask for help. You can talk to your friends, you can talk to your siblings, you can talk to your partners, you can talk to your colleagues, you can talk to your relatives, or for that matter, even seek professional help to quickly acquire your flame and your motivation back. It's perfectly all right. If there is anything that leaders today, our challenge today is to show emotional intelligence, to show empathy, to listen to people, to relate to them, to just show up and say, listen, you're not alone. Talking to someone will help in identifying the causes. Why? Because they see things differently. They see things what you don't see. You can't see yourself if you are in the frame. Talk to somebody. Talking to someone will help in identifying the causes and symptoms. And most probably, if that person really cares for you, they might even suggest some possible remedies, or they might go out of the way in order to make you feel better, to make you feel important, to make you feel valuable, to just take yourself out of the situation and get back your motivation after burnout. It is okay, friends, to ask for help. It is perfectly okay to ask for help. And finally, know when to take a break. You have only one life to live. And while people say live it full, I agree, but also make sure that you know when to start and when to stop. Take some time off. Stepping back, resetting, reflecting will help you come back refreshed. And that is a guarantee if you ask yourself the right questions. People need some space, some time for themselves to breathe away the stress. Now, I know that it's very difficult, to go on a vacation when the airline industry is not fulling up, not not functioning to the fullest. But you can always distract yourself positively. Take a break. Go on a vacation if you can. Go on a walk alone by yourself. Do activities on your bucket list. Read books, or simply sit at home and relax. Remind yourself that you need to take care of yourself if you need to live well. So, as I close this episode, I summarize here. First, know the signs of the burnout. Second, acknowledge and accept the fact that yes, you have been a victim to excessive stress that has really impacted you, that has made you talk negative, that has made you feel dissatisfied, that has brought down productivity levels, that has brought down your energy levels, that has brought down your focus. Acknowledge that you are indeed burnt out. The third part is identify why are you feeling burnt out by asking questions. Where could it off? Where could it start? What did I do in order to be in a situation that I feel so restless, so worn out? Ask tough questions. Determine or go back in a reflected mode and ask yourself what gave you meaning and happiness before the burnout, and why did it cascade? Who was responsible for it? Is there a possibility to do some damage control? Fifthly, don't hesitate to ask for help. As I said before, we are human beings, we are social beings, we need interaction, we need emotional connect. And believe me, you will have somebody that would come out, extend their hand, and give you some support. And finally, learn to take some time out. Friends, as I bring this episode to a close, I would like to share with you a quote from Fyodor Dostoevsky. He says, "You will burn and you will burn out." But the second part of the quote is more positive: you will be healed and you will come back again, which means to say is that you need to take a break. You need to breathe well. You need to know what is it that caused the trigger that resulted in a situation. And I know most people are stressed because of the situation. But at the same time, you need to know that we are all an outcome of our choices. Finally, friends, remember, burnout happens to all of us from time to time. Though most of us, in the hectic pace of our lives, don't see those signs until and unless it becomes imperative that we have to take rest or see a doctor. It is during these times that we may need to learn how to find motivation again. Sometimes doing this requires making a huge life change, a huge decision, and people are doing it right now. They're looking out for more purpose and meaning to their life. They're looking out whether the work that they did for so many years, was it in alignment to their values? Was it that was did they do it just for the sake of paying their bills? So there have been a lot of questions that millions of people are asking. In fact, in the US, there is something called the Great Resignation. People are not willing to come back to work. So sometimes, as I said, breakdown or burnouts would trigger something that you may require to take a huge life changing decision. But other times, it can indeed be fixed with some new habits, some new routines. And those routines can be as simple as shutting down your computer, putting down your phone out of sight, and giving yourself some downtime. If you're feeling overwhelmed with all of the responsibilities on your plate and with all of the things you're thinking you need to change, remember to start small and focus on the one thing to start with that's going to make the biggest impact. Look out for small wins, incremental steps of victories, and suddenly you will find that even though COVID-19 has changed many things, you yourself have become a changed person. I would like to part with a wonderful quote from 𝐷𝐤𝐽𝐻 Pace. The quote goes like this: stress is the trash of modern life. We all generate it, but if you don't dispose of it properly, it will pile up and overtake your life. Friends, thanks for watching. You will find the references of all that has been shared in this episode at the end of this talk. Feel free to use them further for your personal growth and development. Remember, the win is always within you. Friends, if you like this episode, please comment and share. Also, you could go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to it. There you will find all the previous 54 episodes piled up, one after the other. If you like it, put a like, subscribe, or if you think that somebody else could be benefited by this, please be willing to share. I want you to understand that even this particular situation that we are all facing will eventually pass. As I said before, I'm here to help you be victorious. I believe in you, and together we can. So stay safe. See you on the next episode on Tea Time with Owen. Bye for now.